Namaskar, good evening. You are watching Rajya Sabha television. I'm Smriti Rastogi with News Tonight. Let's begin the bulletin with the top headlines. President Ram Nath Kovind confers outstanding parliamentarian awards. Leader of the opposition in Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, Manipur Governor Najma Heptullah, BJD MP Bhartrhari Mehtab, Lok Sabha member Hukum Dev Narayan Yadav and TMC MP Dinesh Trivedi are the recipients. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi also address MPs in the Central Hall of Parliament. Rajya Sabha deadlocked on the issue of the National Register of Citizens of Assam, slogan shouting TMC MPs enter well of the House. Uproar prevents Amit Shah from completing his speech and Home Minister Rajnath Singh from making his reply. Chairman expresses displeasure over the opposition's attitude. Lok Sabha passes the Commercial Courts Commercial Division and Commercial Appellate Division of High Courts Amendment Bill 2018. Bill brings down specified value of a commercial dispute to 3 lakhs from the present 1 crore, reduces time taken to resolve commercial disputes of lesser value. Union Cabinet approves bill to restore original provisions of Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act. Supreme Court had introduced safeguards in this bill. Go ahead for LIC's proposal to acquire 51% stake in IDBI Bank. And EMIs on home and vehicle loans to become costlier. Inflation concerns prompt RBI to increase repo rate by 25 basis points to 6.5%. Second such increase by 6-member Monetary Policy Committee in 2 months. Our top focus tonight, President Ram Nath Kovind presented the Outstanding Parliamentarians Award to 5 members of Parliament. At a function held in the Central Hall of the Parliament, the President conferred the Outstanding Parliamentarian Award to Dr. Najma Heptullah for the year 2013, Hukum Dev Narayan Yadav for 2014, Leader of the Opposition in Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad for the year 2015, TMC MP Dinesh Trivedi for 2016 and BJD MP Bhartrhari Mehtab for 2017. The names of these MPs were shortlisted by a committee headed by Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan.
इसीलिए सामान्य जनता यह देखना चाहती है कि उसके प्रतिनिधि सदैव उसके कल्याण में कार्यरत रहें। जनता यह भी अपेक्षा करती है कि संसद में उनकी कठिनाइयों के समाधान तथा देश के विकास पर चर्चा हो। उनकी आशाओं पर खरा उतरना ही हमारी संसदीय व्यवस्था की सफलता की कसौटी है। जनमानस की अपेक्षाओं के अनुरूप आचरण करने में ही संसदीय लोकतंत्र की मर्यादा है।
Government has to be responsive and the opposition has to be responsible. Then only parliamentary democracy will succeed. So let us remember these principles, that 1, be tolerant towards the mandate of the people. 2, let the opposition have its say and the government have its way. Let the government propose, opposition oppose, and let the House dispose. If you follow this, then definitely the parliamentary democracy will succeed.
हम सबका दायित्व है कि हमारे हर सांसद साथी का शब्द चिरंजीव बने। हम सबका दायित्व है कि हमारे सांसद के दिल से निकली हुई वो गांव गरीब किसान की बात सरकार को कुछ करने के लिए मजबूर करें। ये स्थिति सदन में हम सब पैदा कर सकते हैं और जितना अच्छे ढंग से पैदा करेंगे, देश को आगे ले जाने में उसकी ताकत और बढ़ेगी।
लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था के लिए हमेशा हम कहते हैं मतांतर हो सकता है, मगर विचार विमर्श की एक जगह वहाँ है, गुंजाइश है। सहमति असहमति के बीच कहीं एक व्यवस्था हमें देना है। ये लोकतंत्र की, प्रजातंत्र की भी खासियत है। और दूसरी बात है, संसद की गरिमा को अक्षुण्ण हमें रखना है। ये हम सबका काम है।
हर प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने अपने टाइम पे कुछ न कुछ कहा होगा, मगर नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने जो बात कही, सबका साथ सबका विकास, वो सही माने में हमारे संविधान को ट्रांसलेट करता है इन रियल सेंस।
लोगों को ये आश्चर्य लगता है कि मैं ऑल इन वन कैसे बन गया। मैं स्वयं सेवक भी बन गया, समाजवादी भी बन गया, लोहियावादी भी बन गया, चरण सिंह के साथ भी, कर्पूरी ठाकुर के साथ भी, और दीनदयाल जी का भी गीत गाता हूँ। तो भाई हिंदुस्तानी हूँ मैं। इस देश में सर्वधर्म समभाव है, सर्व समाज समभाव है। दीनदयाल जी कहते थे समरस समाज, डोरिया कहते थे समता समाज, इसलिए मैंने उसको अपने जीवन में अंगीकार किया है।
आज हम देखते हैं कि कितनी छोटी छोटी बच्चियों का बलात्कार हो रहा, किस तरह से लोग झूठी अफवाहों पे लोग मारे जा रहे हैं। ये बड़ा चिंता का विषय है देश के लिए, और चिंता हमें यहां करनी है इस परिवार को। यहां ये सबसे बड़ा घर है और न्याय दिलाने वाला घर है। यहां कानून दुनिया में सुप्रीम कोर्ट इंटरप्रेट कर सकती है, लेकिन कानून नहीं बना सकती। उस हिसाब से तो ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट से भी ऊपर है।
हमें सोचना है कि हमारी आने वाली पीढ़ी को हम क्या छोड़ के जाएंगे। ये बहुत ज़रूरी है। ये लोकतंत्र का मंदिर की नींव को मजबूत बनाना हम सबका कर्तव्य है। इस मंदिर की पूजा अर्चना तभी संभव हो सकती है जब हम साधारण नागरिक के सुर के साथ अपना सुर मिलाते हैं।
This award has come at a time which has assured me that the trust the people have on me is being rewarded and has entrusted greater responsibility on my shoulder to serve the people and be their voice in this temple of democracy.
And Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu expressed his anguish at the manner in which House proceedings were disrupted on Tuesday. He also gave vent to his distress at some members running menacingly towards the well of the House. Chairman Naidu refrained from naming any member but sought cooperation from all the members for the smooth functioning of the House. He also exuded hope that such incidents will not be repeated, even as he asserted that the chair has the power to adjourn the House depending on the situation. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu expressed his anguish at the disruptions in the House that prevented the Home Minister from making his reply on the crucial Assam NRC issue.
I was so upset yesterday, so much so the country also, when some members menacingly rushed towards the well of the House. I thought something is going to happen to my secretariat, and then some people started raising slogans also. It's totally unacceptable. I hope such things will not be repeated. I don't want to name anybody or take any party's name, because I saw in the newspapers saying that House is going on well, lot of constructive business has been done, but now it will not be allowed. Like that, one day before, in the newspapers it came. Subsequently, what has happened have happened. Let me make it very clear. The chair has power to adjourn the House as per the situation. And there are umpteen number of examples in this House, in the very House, from the chair, where the House is adjourned, and then to any time. One, that's the discretion of the chair, because he is overall responsible for the conduct of the House in a dignified and manner. But unless there is a cooperation by all members, it's not possible. So when I find it not possible, the next thing I do is, instead of allowing this unruly scenes to be seen by the people, because this is Parliament, this is the upper house, where people expect a more matured behavior by one and all. I don't want that negative thing to go. That's why I adjourned the House, and I adjourned it. As far as the House is concerned, it should be conducted in a dignified manner. befitting of the upper house of Indian Parliament, which has got a greater seat.
On Tuesday, the Rajya Sabha witnessed protests after BJP MP Amit Shah claimed that the Congress didn't have the courage to implement NRC despite signing the Assam Accord in 1985. He also sought to know if the opposition wishes to save illegal infiltrators and immigrants. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
But every member has got a right to express it.
An opposition members stalled 0 hour for the third day in a row on Wednesday. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu sought cooperation of all the members for the constructive debate and discussion in the House.
0 hour was stalled on the third consecutive day on Wednesday due to protests by opposition members. Anand Sharma of the Congress highlighted the statement of BJP MP Amit Shah that Congress did not have the courage to implement NRC despite signing the Assam Accord in 1985 through a point of order.
एक माननीय सदस्य के द्वारा कि राजीव गांधी जी के असम अकॉर्ड के बाद जितने प्रधानमंत्री थे वो बुज़दिल थे, उनमें हिम्मत नहीं थी। मैं इसकी निंदा करता हूं, उसको आप वापस करें, उसको क्षमा मांगे, रिकॉर्ड से निकालें। आपने कैसे कह दिया? राइट सर, नो, कल उसको एक्सपंज नहीं किया गया। ठीक है, ये बड़े दुख की बात है कि सदन में ये बात हुई। इस सदन में अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी भी आपके प्रधानमंत्री थे।
As BJP MP Amit Shah rose to conclude his speech, opposition members caused disruptions. Chairman Venkaiah Naidu made fervent appeals to allow the House to function, but the members refused to relent. Then the chairman adjourned the House till noon.
The House is adjourned to meet at 12 p.m.
On Monday and Tuesday, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu had requested Home Minister Rajnath Singh to be present in the House to assuage the fears of members. But the issue could not be taken up due to continued disruptions. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And opposition members continue to protest even after the House reconvened after lunch. Trinamool Congress members forced adjournment of the Rajya Sabha for the day as it failed to complete a discussion on Assam's National Register of Citizens.
Opposition members continue to disrupt the Rajya Sabha for the third day in a row on the National Register of Citizens of Assam issue. When the House reconvened at 2 p.m. after the lunch break, TMC's Sukhendu Shekhar Roy raised a point of order as BJP President Amit Shah was asked to conclude his speech that he had started on Monday. Responding to the point of order, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu said he had allowed Shah to complete his speech that could not be completed yesterday due to continued disruptions.
If any member who is so called upon does not speak, he shall not be entitled except with the permission of the chair. Here, in this case, one honourable member has already spoken. How can he speak twice?
That's not a point of order, please. There are some. There is no point of order because he was on his legs. He was not allowed to complete. I have permitted him to complete.
Expressing his displeasure, Chairman Naidu said the conduct of the protesters was unbecoming of parliamentarians. He then again asked Amit Shah to speak, but the disruptions continued. Amid the disruptions, BJP President Amit Shah said if the opposition had issues with his speech, he will not speak. Home Minister Rajnath Singh sought the chair's permission to table his speech, saying some members did not wish to hear the reply to the discussion on the NRC. Thanking the Home Minister for coming to the House for 3 consecutive days, Chairman Naidu adjourned the House for the day.
I am adjourning the House to meet at 11 a.m. tomorrow.
With inputs from Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And according to sources, after Congress leader Anand Sharma said in the House that BJP MP Amit Shah should apologize for saying that no Prime Minister since Rajiv Gandhi and those after him had the courage to implement the NRC in Assam, and the House was adjourned, the chairman examined the record of verbatim proceedings of the House. It was revealed that Amit Shah did not make any such references to other Prime Ministers during his speech yesterday. Meanwhile, in the House, Chairman Venkaiah Naidu today complimented the members for a productive question hour. The upper house transacted 12 of the listed 15 starred questions for oral replies. It was only for the second time when these many starred questions were taken up by the Rajya Sabha for oral answers. Earlier this year, Rajya Sabha took up all the listed 15 starred questions for oral replies in January during the winter session. Commercial Courts Commercial Division and Commercial Appellate Division of High Courts Amendment Bill 2018. The bill amends the law for speedy disposal of commercial disputes and seeks to reduce the pecuniary jurisdiction of commercial courts from 1 crore rupees to 3 lakh rupees. Replying to the debate on the bill, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said the bill is aimed at ensuring India's performance in the ease of doing business. The bill, which was passed by the voice vote in the Lok Sabha, allows state governments to establish commercial courts at the district level. The Law Minister also said that there should be higher representation of those belonging to the SC, ST, OBC and minority communities in the higher judiciary.
This is one step. Tomorrow or day after I am coming with arbitration law, also the New Delhi Center of Arbitration. Because all these things are designed to make India a good hub of domestic arbitration and international arbitration for resolution of dispute. So this is a whole package this government is going, and when India is emerging as a big economic powerhouse, surpassing even France, on way to become the top 3, sir, these measures are important.
The Reserve Bank of India on Wednesday raised repo rate by 25 basis points to 6.5% on account of inflationary pressures due to hike in minimum support prices. RBI also raised inflation projection for the second half of the year. The Apex Bank, however, maintained neutral stance that allows flexibility to go either way on rates. The hike in the repo rate implies that your EMIs are likely to shoot up. The RBI also cited the MSP hike as the primary factor stoking inflation. The government has fixed the MSP at 150% of the cost of production for all Kharif crops.
In the assessment of the committee, uncertainty around domestic inflation needs to be carefully monitored in the coming months. In addition, rising trade protectionism, geopolitical tensions, and elevated oil prices pose grave risks to the near-term and long-term global growth prospects by adversely impacting investment, disrupting global supply chains, and hampering productivity. Against this backdrop, the committee decided to increase the policy rate by 25 basis points while maintaining the neutral stance of monetary policy. The committee reiterated its commitment to achieving the medium-term target for headline inflation of 4% on a durable basis while supporting growth.
And for more on this, we'll go across to Mr. Nitin Desai, former Chief Economic Advisor with the Government of India. Sir, thank you so much for speaking to Rajya Sabha Television. Sir, what is the reason for this increase and how will the inflation concerns be addressed?
Thank you. Basically, the increase has come because of what we call core inflation. If you look at the numbers, the headline inflation has gone up. It's about 5%. But what I think is worrying the Reserve Bank and the Monetary Policy Committee is something that we call core inflation, which is the inflation in CPI, leaving out things like food and fuel, which are subject not to demand influences, but more because of the supply side pressures. And that has gone up to nearly 6% now, the inflation in things other than food and fuel. And that is usually a sign of demand pressure. And that is what has led the Reserve Bank Committee, MPC, to recommend this 25 basis point increase. It was expected. The only issue was whether they were going to do it in August or whether they were going to do it 2 months later in October. And my reading is that they have decided that it is better to do it now, first, because of the increase in MSPs, though they have said that they are not absolutely certain about the impact, because a lot depends on actual procurement. And second, because there are some signs that the monsoon may be not as good as expected. And third is, of course, the international factors, which the governor mentioned in his statement. So my feeling is that what they've said is, let's not wait for 2 months, let's do it now and anticipate inflationary pressures, which they're clearly expecting will accelerate. According to their forecast, there'll be a slight acceleration in headline inflation over the next 3 quarters. So I'd say this was expected and probably a reasonably wise move, particularly given the fact that we are facing a great deal of international uncertainty and possibly uncertainty on the food price front.
And sir, how will it impact the infrastructure
So
and
more or
other
less
sectors?
on expected lines.
All right, sir.
I would say that there is, of course, going to be some increase in lending rates. It is some increase in lending rates, which is to be expected. EMIs, as you had said, will probably go up a little. It is meant to be a demand restraint, but I think clearly they don't expect a significant growth impact because the growth forecasts are remain the same, and there is some evidence of an improvement in the growth prospects because of very good better corporate results, some increase in investment, more money being raised in the market. So I don't think they are anticipating a huge impact on investment or growth.
And so how do we see...
And I think they're probably right, that I think the market will absorb this. It was expected. There's nothing very unusual.
All right. So how do we see the global growth outlook?
The global growth outlook is now shaky because of all the risks of a trade battle, which particularly with the sort of tensions that are there between the United States and China, the uncertainties on the oil price front, and possibly some geopolitical risks. So it would be prudent to assume that the global growth outlook may turn unfavorable over the next few months because of what is happening on the trade front, because of what is happening on the oil prices front. So I'd say that this is essentially an exercise in prudence. And because they're not saying that the country is facing huge inflationary problems or any such thing. They're just being cautious in making sure we don't end up with uncontrollable inflation in 6 months or so. So it's a prudent move of prudence because of the fact that the global environment is not quite as favorable as it was, say, 6 months to a year ago.
Thank you so much, Mr. Desai, for joining us and giving us all those developments on that very important development on the part of RBI. Now, moving on to some other developments of the day. The Union Cabinet has decided to restore a provision of the SC/ST Act, allowing the arrest of an accused without preliminary inquiry or prior approval. Apart from this, the Cabinet also approved dilution of government shareholding in IDBI Bank Limited to below 50%. It also decided to open 13 central schools in the country.
Accepting a key demand of Dalit groups, the Union Cabinet on Wednesday gave its nod to a bill to restore the original provisions of the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act. The decision comes days before a Bharat Bandh called by Dalit leaders on the 9th of August. The bill is expected to be introduced in the ongoing monsoon session of Parliament. Earlier this year, the Supreme Court had introduced changes in the law that were criticized by Dalit leaders and organizations.
इस बात का खुशी है कि कैबिनेट ने जो बिल था पहले का पूर्ववत क्या कहते हैं उसी बिल को बिना कॉमा फुल स्टॉप चेंज किए हुए रखा है और जल्द से जल्द सरकार क्या कहते हैं कि इस कैबिनेट के निर्णय को पार्लियामेंट के में क्या कहते हैं कि लाएगी, बिल पेश करेगी और हमको लगता है क्या कहते हैं कि सर्वसम्मति से ये बिल बहुत जल्दी पास हो जाएगा।
ने एक और बहुत महत्वपूर्ण फैसला किया है, लेकिन संसदीय परंपरा का सम्मान करते हुए हम उसको आपके सामने बता नहीं सकते क्योंकि बिल ला करके हमको संसद के सामने बताना है। जस्ट अ मिनट। एक बात हम अवश्य कहेंगे, नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार इस देश के दलितों और हमारे आदिवासी भाइयों के विकास के लिए कृत संकल्प है और उस दिशा में जो भी उचित कार्रवाई करने की आवश्यकता होगी पहले भी की है, आगे भी करेगी।
In another decision, the cabinet cleared the purchase of 51% controlling stake in IDBI Bank by Life Insurance Corporation. LIC, which already has 7 to 7.5% stake in the bank, will acquire the remaining for majority holding. The proposed acquisition by LIC will give the debt-ridden bank capital support between 10,000 crore rupees to 13,000 crore rupees, depending on the share price of the bank.
Deal is going to be an excellent deal for LIC. It opens up 1,916 branches of IDBI, where LIC and its 11 lakh agents will be able to market the various policies of LIC. It will open up LIC's deployment of funds, putting it to good use through housing loans.
The cabinet also approved GST law amendments that included hiking threshold limit for availing composition scheme dealers to 1.5 crore rupees. The government will now table amendments to the central GST law, integrated GST law, compensation cess law in the ongoing monsoon session of Parliament. With inputs from Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's all we have for you in this edition of News Tonight. For more news and updates, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.